Welcome back. You're watching us here on Editor's Roundtable. Sonia just said that I should be sharing some fitness tips, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm talking about some of the most tasty food that all the QSRs, serve, and at the same time, they reported their numbers as well. I was looking at the trends. Well, if you just take a look at all the QSR companies, Jubilant Food, Devyani, Sapphire Foods, their numbers in this quarter, all of them have been in line with their 3-year CAGR, slightly below that or largely in line. Devyani around 28% versus a 3-year compounded growth of 32%, 28% for restaurant brands as against a 3-year compounding of 26.5%. But that's on the top line. Let's look at the internals out there. If you just take a look at the margins, there's been compression for most of the companies. Jubilant Foodworks seen a margin compression of 610 basis points. Devyani and Sapphire Foods, all of them lower. The only couple of companies which saw margin expansion were restaurant brands, and in that a higher margin expansion in their India business, which is Burger King, and Westlife Food, which is McDonald's. So that made me curious, and I looked at the same store or like-to-like growth as well. And there was an interesting trend out there. Domino's had a like-for-like growth decline of minus 0.6%, Pizza Hut via Devyani minus 3.2%, and Pizza Hut via Sapphire minus 4%. And then I looked at the burger guys. Out there, we actually saw positive growth coming in, 1.9% for KFC, Devyani, burgers and sandwiches. This is KFC Sapphire was plus 2%, Burger King 8.3% in India, and McDonald's 14%. And that got me thinking, why is it that people are choosing burgers over pizzas? And this has been a trend over the last couple of years. One, earlier burgers weren't conducive for delivery. These guys worked on their product and made them, more stable for delivery, as a result of which burgers are now increasingly preferred for delivery over pizza. And in times of inflation, people look to cut costs, right? So the average cost of a burger is obviously less than the average cost of a full pizza. And finally, burger is a snack, pizza is a meal, which basically means that pizzas would be eaten during lunch times or evenings, whereas burgers would be had anytime, and that explains the outperformance of burger versus pizza. In that as well, in pizza, Domino's has actually shown the least amount of growth rate in the last 3 years post-COVID. 9.5% revenue CAGR for them. This compares with Westlife, restaurant brands, Sapphire and Devyani, anywhere between 13.5% to 25%. But the bigger problem is, are QSRs now slowly falling out of favor? One, fizzling of post-COVID demand. Secondly, inflation is hurting all of them with regards to the cost of cheese, and at the same time, things are getting expensive, so people are cutting down on those expenses. The third one, too many stores opened by many large chains. In fact, Domino's now has 1,800 stores in all of the country. And finally, competition from local players. Why just go for QSR branded players when you have a lot of your local artisanal players also giving the good kind of food as well? So is that in the price? Well, Jubilant Foodworks is down almost 30% from the peak, 50% from its lifetime high, all of them lower. Westlife, which has been an outperformer, has actually fallen just about 8% from the top. How do they trade in terms of valuations? Well, they're still expensive. Restaurant brands, for instance, is 61 times a 1-year forward EV to EBITDA. The others have corrected a bit, but still anywhere between 23 to 35 times 1-year forward EV to EBITDA. What are the triggers going forward? Well, ease of cheese inflation in the second half could expand their margins. Demand pickup through newer formats and offering. Jubilant Foodworks has the Popeyes, etc. And finally, company-specific PE developments. Both restaurant brands, Asia and Sapphire Foods, have PE owners. So will they look to cash out or will they look to sell or not is the big question. So that's all about the QSR space in the last 1 week, or a little more than that as well.
Okay, Mangalam, you always do this to us. You